Trudy, you don't have to do this.
I don't know. Seems like a nice day for a swim.
Making a movie is a little bit like crossing an ocean, you know. The more you do it, you get more experience, but there's always going to be surprises. I think it's important to know our history. And this was such a seismic event, probably changing women's sports forever. And I'm so happy and proud that I'm able to retell this story and put Trudy's name back on the map.
A lot of people who joined our journey did it because they loved the screenplay, because we moved them. We transported them from one place to another and made them feel something. And when you think about Top Gun and all the other movies we've made, we make you feel something. It's the emotion. We can do all the bells and whistles, but you have to capture the emotion. And I'm talking to you 9 years later. Hollywood, you think is easy to get a movie made? And I've made some really successful films. Even for me, it's difficult.
Jerry, thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's an absolute honor for us. You have made some of our absolute favorite films of all time.
Oh, I appreciate that. You have too much leisure time on your hands. That's the problem.
We went through your entire filmography and watched every single movie in this week.
God.
So, yes, we do. No, but congratulations on the premiere last night. How are you recovering today?
A little hungover, but I'm powering through it.
Love that.
A few hours sleep, but I'm here.
Of course. It was a good celebration, and rightly so, because this movie is just so wonderful. So the celebration was in order.
We had a great screening, a lot of applause, a lot of laughs, and people loved the movie, a lot of tears. So that's good when you see them walk out and their eyes are a little wet. That's really nice.
We were lucky to be at CinemaCon last month, and we saw the trailer on the big screen, and the reaction it got there, and you know your introduction as well too on the screen, saying how this was the best testing film of your career. You know, what are you most excited for audiences to take with them after watching this film?
I think the journey. We transport you to another place, another time. We make you feel something. It's about emotion. When you look at the movies, the big movies I've made, it's always about the emotion. You know, Top Gun Maverick we had all the airplanes and all the great stuff, but it's really the emotion of those characters that brings you home and makes you want to go back and see it again. It's the same thing with this movie. It's her journey and the obstacles. It's an inspirational story. It's something that got a character that got lost in time, that people have never heard of Trudy, and now they will. And I always like to make movies about individuals that have changed things. We did it with Remember the Titans and Glory Road and Black Hawk Down. All those individuals, 18 men who were killed, will never be forgotten now. And the same thing with the two coaches in Remember the Titans and the coach and the team in Glory Road. They're cemented in history now when you turn your TV on or look for something to watch. And the same thing's going to happen with Trudy now. And what inspired me is when Jeff showed us the footage of the real parade down Fifth Avenue. I said, oh my God, look at this. I've never seen anything like it. And it's never happened again. So, and don't forget the communications wasn't like we have it today. There was radio and there was print, and that was it. So the fact that she captivated the world, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but when those campfires light up on the cliff, I mean, it really gets you. That, you know, the whole world was watching her.
That was, I think, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think that was the most impactful moment for us.
Yeah.
Where you just see the lights guiding her home, guiding her to the shore, and seeing that parade at the end and seeing the scale of it. And, you know, you guys even saying like that's never happened again. Which is wild to think that as somebody who was this impactful, not a lot of people have heard of her story. So how did you come across this story?
Well, it was Jeff Nathanson who wrote One of the Pirates with us, and is a good friend and has worked on a lot of our movies. He was looking for something for his daughters to watch, and he couldn't find anything. He had young daughters. So he went to a used bookstore, rummaged around, and found this book, Young Woman in the Sea. And he said, guys, read it. I think this is a good movie. We agreed. He wrote a fabulous screenplay. And I'm talking to you 9 years later after the day we optioned the book. So that's Hollywood, you think is easy to get a movie made. And I've made some really successful films. Even for me, it's difficult.
Wow. That's amazing. And that leads us right to our next question here, because The Young Woman in the Sea is a story about perseverance and defying when you're told you can't. And you've had this opportunity to produce so many legendary movies throughout your career. How did you overcome the no's that you got along the way?
You know, you just keep going. You keep going forward. You get up in the morning, you put your combat boots on, and you go to work, and you just keep walking through walls, and you never take a no. You get a no, you go down another door and knock on it and keep pushing. And went through 2 studios, and finally Disney stepped up and said, we really love the story as much as you do. And here we are talking about it.
Yeah, and I think Daisy Ridley also is just so phenomenal in this film. She really just embodies Trudy. What was it about her when you were marrying the script and, I guess her auditioning for it that just made it feel like, this is our Trudy. This is who's going to be leading our film.
Well, you got to start with, she's beautiful. She's a wonderful actress. And she's physical. I mean, when you saw her in Star Wars, she's got these broad shoulders and she looks like a swimmer. Even though she wasn't proficient in the water, she trained for 3 months with an Olympic athlete.
Wow.
To be as proficient as he ended up being. And you have to understand how hard it is for her to do what she did. She's in the freezing cold water. She's working 10, 12 hours in the water. And unfortunately, the winds keep changing, keep shifting our ships out there. So we had to stop, turn the ships around so you have the light in the same place so it matches. So it was a really tough journey, but fortunately enough, we've made a lot of movies on water, and so is Joachim. Joachim was nominated for an Academy Award on a film he made on the water, and he did one of the pirates. So we kind of knew what we were in for, and we're ready for it. And we didn't have a big budget to make this movie. We made the movie in Bulgaria, and we had a phenomenal time. And it was all young craftsmen who worked on the movie. Our Nora, our production designer, is phenomenal, young Hungarian girl. Our costume designer is amazing, female. So we had a really amazing crew. And what's interesting, a lot of people who joined our journey did it because they loved the screenplay. They turned down a lot of other work so they could make this movie. And it took us a long time to get there, but I think it's worth it. Based on the fact that it's the highest testing movie I've ever made, you can see that it was worth it. And now with your help, we got to get people to go see it. And that's the key. It's inspiration. It's for all of us. It's not just for women, because when we tested it, women were 100% excellent. Men were 97. So we got them both because we moved them. We transported them from one place to another and made them feel something. And when you think about Top Gun and all the other movies we've made, we make you feel something. And that's why it's the emotion. We can do all the bells and whistles. And a lot of great producers and directors and writers in Hollywood can do all those things, but you have to capture the emotion and have it translated to the audience. The audience feels the emotion that you bring to the screen and transform it into them. And it looks easy, but it's really hard. A lot of people try and over again to try to do it, and they just don't do it because we think we're pretty smart. But when we show it to the audience, they're much smarter than we are. And they pick up things that we totally miss. When we were doing Armageddon, we tested the movie, and the audience said, he never gave her a ring. But so we had to go out and shoot him giving her a ring.
Wow.
I mean, stupid guys, what do we know, right?
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. And, you look at the busy summer that you kind of have coming up with not only just Young Woman in the Sea, but you have the sequels to Bad Boys and Beverly Hills Cop coming out. How does it kind of feel to have all these franchises just endure the test of time?
It's great. It's you just got to work at them. You got to keep pushing and making better and better. We never settle. Bad Boys, I think we previewed it 6 times, and the last time it went from a 71 to like a 97. So we just kept working it until it became the movie it is. And we just had some sneak previews on it, and audiences love it. They just love it. They have a blast. They say it's the best one since the second one. That's the comments that we keep getting. It's something that to see these 2 guys go at it again and have fun with it. They're just it's such a joy to be on the set with them. Will is so creative and inspirational, and so is Martin, who's hysterical in this one.
We can't wait. Yeah, we're seeing it next week, and we're going to be speaking with Adil and Bilal. So we love what they did the last one. So we're excited to see them what they do with this one. But really quickly before we finish up, we just have to I just wanted to give you a shout out because the Seattle Kraken I think is the coolest sounding hockey team ever. Like we're Toronto Maple Leafs fans. Unfortunately, that's what we've been grown up as, but the Seattle Kraken, their logo and their name is just so iconic. We just can't wait to see what they do over the next couple of years.
Yeah, thank you. It's just like making a movie. You're putting that whole thing together. I was the originator, along with David Bonderman, who took the task of getting through the NHL and getting the team put up in Seattle, which is a great market, a great sports market. And I play hockey with a bunch of guys from Toronto, and I feel your pain, believe me.
Yeah. Jerry, thank you so much for everything. As we said, we're huge fans of yours, so we just cannot wait to see what you do.
Thanks for spending the time with us. Really appreciate it.
Joachim, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
We are so delighted to be talking with you today. We absolutely had such a wonderful time watching this film. It's hard not to be inspired after watching a movie like this.
Yeah, I that makes me so happy that you say that, but because that's how I felt when I first heard the story. When I first read Jeff Nathanson's wonderful script, and then obviously then reading Glenn Stout's book that script was based on, I felt the same. I felt inspired. It's a story that has everything that I look for when I make a movie. It has a big heart. Obviously, it's dramatic, but it's also funny and scary. So and I was baffled that I didn't know the story, honestly. So I was just like, I had no clue how it was gonna go.
It's so funny you mentioned that, and that brings us, I think, to our first question. We just spoke with Jerry, who it was obviously legendary in his own right, but it's funny how he mentioned the same thing, that he wasn't familiar with this story. And when you see the footage in this film, you see how big this parade is and how important of a figure Trudy was. It's just wild to think that she's not more of a known figure. So for you, being able to bring this to screen, how does it feel for you to be able to help bring her story to the screen and to so many people's, just knowledge of who she is?
I mean, you're right. I think it's important to know our history, and this was such a seismic event. It was 100 years ago, but it was a seismic event. Probably changing women's sports forever. And you're right. Like spoiler alert here, but the ticker tape parade, it's almost unbelievable. And that's why I put in the real footage at the end of the film of it, because I think people are like, oh, this is an exaggeration. But I think that the black and white footage is, there's even more people, so we could have done better. But I'm just so proud and happy that it took us many years to get here to make this film. And I'm so happy and proud that I'm able to retell this story for a modern audience and put Trudy's name back on the map.
Absolutely. And, to fulfill that role, you have Daisy Ridley here, who has such determination throughout the entire film. Why was she the best person for this?
I loved her in the Star Wars films, and obviously she's a great actor. But what I see in her, I see this kind of energy that I can imagine that Trudy had. It's kind of like a force of nature in her. I'm not saying that she can not be vulnerable as well, but she's such a strong aura, in lack of a better word, around her. And I needed someone like that to make it believable that, you can swim for 14 hours in freezing waters, and not every actor can do that. Not every person can do that, like man or woman. And she did it. I told her very early on, I said, I want to shoot this reel for real. I want to be in the ocean with you. And she started training. She said, yeah, let's do that. I love it. She started training for months and months, open water swimming. And we got out there, and she was in the water for weeks and weeks, freezing 60, 61 degrees, her lips
Wow.
and channeling Trudy Ederle. And I think it informed all of us, the whole team, how it could have been a little bit, not that we were risking our lives. I was on a boat in a thick jacket. I don't know. And I hope the audience can feel that a little bit, like, you know, that we went to great lengths to make it as real as possible.
We definitely felt it. So
Yeah.
I think you definitely achieved that.
Cool.
Some of our favorite shots in the film like are in the water, and especially when you see the perspective through Trudy's goggles and it's just foggy and you're just like, I feel so immersed. And you know, it's great to see you back in the water too after Pirates and Kon-Tiki as well too. So what was it like? How did those projects help you prepare to take on Trudy's story in the water shooting this time around?
Making a movie is a little bit like crossing an ocean, you know, and that's an analogy that I like. The more you do it, you get more experience, but there's always going to be surprises, and you always have to, there's the weather, or there will always be different, you know. And I grew up by the ocean. I love the ocean. You know, I'm drawn to stories with the ocean, and I think in this case, the ocean is a character. It's kind of like a villain almost. You know, it symbolizes her obstacle, what she has to overcome, her struggles, and how, you know, she is risking her life to prove a point. So that's why the ocean. We had to be on the ocean. I couldn't do this in a tank, you know. I couldn't do it on blue screen. It needed to be real.
It's crazy how, you know, when you look at the ocean, how massive it is, and you're able to still capture this feeling of claustrophobia. I think that even though, you know, you're surrounding her in the boats and everything, but there's still this level where you're just feeling entrapped in it all. So kudos to the entire team for pulling that off.
No, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much.
And also congratulations on wrapping shooting with Tron Ares. We're curious, what has excited you most about kind of getting to further explore the grid?
Well, I got to be in Vancouver for 12 months.
Oh,
that
Canada?
was lovely.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah, no, I think, you know, again, I just feel so fortunate that I'm able to do so different stories, and I'm you know, I love all kinds of films, and you know, it's amazing to you know, I've been on the grid, as you say, for months and months and months, and then come out and then go out on the ocean with Trudy, you know, and then back into the editing room now for a year on Tron. So it's just yeah, I'm fortunate.
We're so excited to see what you cooked up, and any chance you have the power to bring Daft Punk back together for another banger score?
No comment.
All right, we'll take it as it is.
Have you gotten a chance to ride the Tron ride?
Yeah. I've ridden them all over the world. I first, actually, we were riding it in Shanghai because we had our Pirates of the Caribbean premiere at the Disneyland in Shanghai when that opened.
Amazing.
So that's the first time I rode it. It's such an amazing ride. I mean, it's yeah, and there's the bar is very high, you know. The bar is high for this kind of, you know, the light cycle and all that stuff. And I hope that it will deliver. So we'll see.
I'm sure it will.
Thank you, Joachim. Thank you so much for your time. Like we said, this movie is so wonderful. We're so happy that the world's going to get to know who Trudy is, and you captured it so wonderfully. So thank you for your time, and we really hope we get to talk to you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.